you doing, folks? Papa Joe again. I don't know what it is. There's excuse me. There's a few of these parables that are just jumping up, slapping the dickens out of me, and I got to read them to you. I don't know why. They all are saying the same thing, so to speak. Evidently, somebody out there is needing the word. So whoever you are, I pray that you get it. I pray that you hear it. I pray the good Lord touches your heart and has you to hear and receive. This is the parable of the net. Matthew 13, 47 through 53. Yeah, I know there's some of you out there saying, oh man, give it a break. No, I can't. Sorry. If you don't want to hear the word of the Lord, this ain't the video for you, because it's got the Lord all in it. It's His word. Verse 47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a net which was thrown into the sea and gathered fish of every kind. When it was full, men drew it ashore and sat down and sorted the good into vessels, but threw away the bad. So it will be at the close of the age. The angels will come out and separate the evil from the righteous, and throw them into the furnace of fire. There men will weep and gnash their teeth. Have you understood this? They said to him, yes. And he said to them, therefore every scribe who has been trained for the kingdom of heaven is like a householder who brings out of his treasure what is new and what is old. And when Jesus had finished these parables, he went away from there. Our meditation. What can a story of a dragnet and a great catch of fish tell us about God's kingdom? The two most common ways of fishing in Jesus' time was with a cast net or hand net, which was thrown from the shore, and then the dragnet or trawl, which was let down or cast into the waters from a boat. As the boat moved through the waters, the dragnet was drawn into the shape of a great cone, which indiscriminately took in all kinds of fish and floated them, and jetsam swept in its path. It usually took several men to haul such a net to shore. What is Jesus' point here? Just as the dragnet catches every kind of fish in the sea, so the church acts as God's instrument for gathering in all who will come. Just as the dragnet does not or cannot discriminate, so the church does not discriminate between good and the bad, the useless and the useful. God's kingdom is open to all who will accept and believe, but there will come a time of separation at the close of age, when angels will send the good and the bad to their respective destinations. Our duty is to gather in all who will come. God, in the end, will give the good and the bad the reward they deserve. God offers the treasure of His kingdom to all who believe. Do you hunger for God and His kingdom? Wow. Good word. It keeps telling the point that I've been trying to make for quite a while. That one I really like, because it includes the church in it. That cast net they're talking about, when I first moved to Texas many a year ago, I seen them doing that, and that looked quite intriguing. So I learned how to throw a cast net. It's quite fun. So they have the one that you see. A lot of people call them a bait caster, different names for them, depending upon where you're at. And some of them get pretty big that they throw by hand. I think the one I threw had like a 10-foot spread on it. So when it was opened all the way out, it was like 10 foot. They throw them a lot bigger. And we used them for catching bait, basically. A lot of states, it's illegal to use it and catch any of the sport fish. So you really got to be careful there. The other one they're talking about is it's, I don't know how long, probably several hundred feet, I'll guess. But it's piled up on shore, and one of their boats hooks to the end of it and takes off yonder way. And the guys are just sorting it out and feeding it out to keep it untangled. And it just goes out there, and that boat just makes a big old round circle, so to speak, or half circle, I guess. And when it gets back towards shore down the way a little bit, they all grab hold of it and start dragging it in. And whatever's in there is in there. And they sort it out. They keep the good, throw away the bad. The part there about the church, they're saying that the church is that type of net. The church and the preachers and the people working it, they cast that wide net. They send it way out yonder. They bring it around and they start bringing it in and see what they caught. Only that parable is telling us, y'all keep it all. Let me sort it out. Don't bother yourself about trying to figure out if I'm real or not. That ain't your concern, if I'm a real Christian or not. That's God's concern. Your concern is that you caught me. That you now have me saying that I'm interested in Jesus. You have me saying that I want to be a Christian. You have me saying that I am, and I'm pretending to be. It ain't up for you to diagnose whether or not I am or not. That's God's job. You did your job. You caught me. Now it's God's job. Back when I first came to the Lord as an adult, I got talking to a brother, and I was concerned about my wife and my kids and my friends, and I asked him point blank. He was one of them guys I could ask him anything and know that I got the honest truth from him. And he's my brother, literally. He is my brother, my blood brother, and my Christian brother. And he happened to be a preacher. And I asked him, I said, well, are you concerned about your wife and her relationship with God? Is she going to heaven or hell? Your children? He told me, no. That kind of floored me. Why not? He said, that is their responsibility. As children, I led my children to the Lord and taught them. But now it's their responsibility to work on their relationship with God. It's my wife's responsibility to work on her relationship with God. It's my responsibility to work on my relationship with God. It took me a little bit to wrap my head around it, but I finally understood and what he was saying, and he is quite correct. Not only is it my responsibility to work on me, that's a full-time job. Because we're sinners every day. We talk about it every day, you know. So I have my hands full trying to keep me even close to being on the right path. It is my wife's job to keep her on the right path. It is my children's job to keep themselves on the right path. And sometimes that's hard to leave that alone. When you see them dealing with issues and you see them getting mad at God or leaning away from God or whatever, you have to tread lightly. Let's go back to the weeds and the wheat. You got to be careful that you don't try to pull out a weed and destroy the wheat plant. So Jesus is saying the same thing right here. You catch them, I'll sort them out. Your job's catching, my job's sorting. You do your job, I'll do my job. I'm casting my net. Now it's up to Jesus to go through it. He knows what's real. We go back to the old thing that He sees in our hearts. He knows the real us. He knows why we do what we do. He knows what causes us to do certain sins. Well, all sins, and some of those are not our fault. He knows everything. So you and I don't stand a chance of knowing what's good and bad. That might look like trash fish to us, and Jesus might say, whoa, 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 that's better than any damn old trout that you ever caught. We don't know. Let Jesus do His job. You do yours. Cast the net. Another word from God. I thank Him for Him. I thank Him for Him. Y'all remember, God loves you and so do I. He's throwing out His net. Did He get you in it? Y'all have a good evening now. Good night. God bless.